Yo, welcome to episode 39 of the Put On Podcast. I got Mike and Derek here, and I'm just going to get straight into it.
Let's do it.
All right, so creators and social clip for you, Derek, because you've got a social clip that you want to specifically talk about, but why don't you lead us? You kick us off.
Okay. I'm going to start with the social clip, and then I'll talk about the creator. The social clip, I wish I had talked about it last time because it happened a week ago, but had the clip pop up on my feed last week of the McNeese State basketball team doing the walkout, right, with their team manager, this guy, Amir Khan, to Lud Foes in and out, right? Mike, have you seen that walkout yet or no?
No, but why does the name Amir Khan sound very familiar?
It is that name sounds familiar, but he's like just some random team manager of McNeese State. So basically, he does a walkout, and or the team does this walkout with their team manager. The team manager steals the show, right? He raps every single word to this song. He has like swag that's like uncharacteristic of a team manager. Okay. And I watched the clip maybe 50 times in a row, and then it just like popped off. It went viral. Everything about the clip was perfect because it was like a rap video, except it wasn't. And
wait, is this the video where he was like in the bottom right corner?
He's like front and center. He's rapping all the lines. All the guys are around him.
I think I've seen it.
Okay. And to me, it's like one of these, we always talk about sports walkouts. Like me and Cal did the draft of the sports walkouts, but I just love the relationship between sports and music and how sometimes they can go together and create moments like this where it's magic, right? So the clip goes viral. Yeah. He gets interviewed everywhere. He did another walkout the other day. He had like a fresh cut to Kodak Black's No Flocking. And again, it was, and I'm sorry, Mike, to say this, it was lit. And sorry. So I just had to talk about it because we talk about walkouts all the time, and this one was awesome. It was just like one of the best that I've ever seen. So
where's McNeese State at anyway?
I don't know. Good question.
They were in the tournament last year. Are they good this year? Do you know?
I don't know, but like their vibes are like at an all-time high. I would put money on them if, just off of that, just off the walkout, right?
Yeah, they just won their last game.
Yeah. And so that's the little mini trend or clip or whatever. And then my creator is a woman named LoveagainJens is the handle. And Cal, you familiar with her or no?
No, I just thought it was funny. LoveagainJens. It seems like some sauce.
So her content is about teaching people the laws of the universe. She breaks down a lot of what she is talking about using a whiteboard. And so she's a master of the whiteboard, and she talks about positive and negative energy. She talks about, one of my favorite subjects, law of attraction, subconscious mind, alignment. There's some zodiac sign stuff that I'm not super into, but whatever. And I think what I really like about her is that she just has a great way of articulating and simplifying some of these more nebulous concepts. And she's able to illustrate them using the whiteboard. So, like a lot of times people are talking about these concepts, but they're hard to understand. And it's so much easier when somebody's got that whiteboard with the marker and is kind of
like a grade school level.
Yeah. Yeah. And she does a great way of kind of breaking it down and simplifying it.
This might be a hot take, but so I'm on her page right now and I'm looking right. And if I were to just if you weren't to give me any context and I were just to see this and click onto one of the videos, I don't love the on the whiteboard type explaining videos, just from a purely visual perspective, just seeing the feed. I don't know if that's just me, but I bet it's super valuable content. I just don't love the I wouldn't watch whiteboard videos if I didn't have to.
I know. Well, it's because you have no attention span. Your generation just can't even, oh no, you're going to explain something to me, swipe, just.
But you could explain something with nice visuals and some voiceover and shit. Like it doesn't need to be explained on a whiteboard.
I get it. She's an educator, like she's doing it, like she's teaching you these things, and some people are really good on the
I
whiteboard,
mean,
and
Mike, do you
she's
like
one
the
of them.
whiteboard? Or would you rather nice visuals with the voiceover?
I'm in the middle because the whiteboard allows you to ingest it very simple. Visuals, graphics, it's like it's the dopamine. You're like, like
Yeah.
you're looking at every single thing opposed to just staying just like in a controlled environment.
It's also a personal branding thing, I would say, right? Because it's like when
Yeah.
she puts herself out there like that and is right in front and she's teaching, it's like she makes herself a thought leader in this space of, laws of the
What's the
universe.
space?
And
The laws of the
yeah,
universe.
I don't know.
In
That's sort of
the
that's
Take
space
away that whiteboard, she sis might not be able to do it.
universe space.
in the
Take away
universe
that
space.
whiteboard.
Love again,
She's
Jen.
good though. She's good. You'll watch some of her videos and you'll be like, oh, like that's, you know what? She has a point, or like that thing that she's talking about makes a lot of sense the way that she kind of explains it. So,
It
anyways,
is.
that's my one creator.
It's interesting what she talks about. Like again, I'm on some of these, the third eye, the different like chakras and shit. Like, are you getting into that kind of stuff as well?
No, I'm mostly like, she'll talk about like, um, she talks a lot about relationships. She talks about like how to, how to attract money into your life. I still need to get like better at following those because it hasn't been working so good for me. But there, yeah, it's the stuff where it's like horoscope, zodiac sign, all that stuff. Not really my cup of tea. But the law of attraction stuff, very much in my wheelhouse.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll definitely check her out.
Yeah,
All right,
Mike, you
who else?
got creators?
yeah. Do y'all know who Ian Bick is?
No.
Wait, is he the one with the glasses that talks to the convicts? I do know him.
Ian Bick, he was this kid from Danbury, Connecticut, and he opened up a club when he was like 18, like doing some like underground shit, and went to jail for like money laundering and like wire fraud, and he did like 3 years in the feds, and so now he turned that into this very like real popular podcast where he interviews like real like felons that do like real time. And what I find it to be most interesting is the fact that he did 3 years. And trust me, look, Fed time is Fed time. But the guys that he interviews are like gang leaders, like killers,
Yeah.
like mob dudes. And just hearing the stories about what goes on in those type of places is like very fascinating to me. Not like I'm trying to be there,
Yeah.
but just for a second, you get a real good inside idea of what actually happens in there. Like I watched one video and they said one of the guys, he had a cellie come in and the cellie didn't really, obviously you don't know anything. So he said, you got to squat when you pee. And for a second I just stopped and I said, I got to squat when I pee. Like you're thinking like, let me sit down on the toilet. You can do that or you squat in front of the toilet. And I'm like, that's going to hurt. That's a lot of leg power down there. I'm like just holding it down there. But it's just like these nuances that your regular way of thinking literally go out the window when you go in there. And to know that he was in there is like I really wonder like the things that might have happened to him or things that he actually witnessed that he doesn't talk about.
Right. Like had he survived, because he's got a baby face. He looks like a kid. To
Right.
me, it's funny because I've seen a bunch of those clips, and you mention it as like social content, but it's a podcast. But the clips are obviously all over the place. Whenever I watch it, Mike, you know what it reminds me of? It's like the real life version of Oz. Remember that show back in the day?
Yeah.
Cal, that had to have been before your time. Did you ever see the show Oz on HBO?
No.
It was like
It
fictional.
was the most uncut show about prison.
Yeah. and it was pretty intense. And they had great actors on that show. Some people that went on to do like really big things. I can't even think of who the guys are right now, but
a lot of them.
Yeah, it's funny. You were talking about like that clip of the guy squatting. I thought you were going to talk about, because most of the clips I see, it's like the guys get transferred, they go into their cell, and it's like they're getting attacked like right off the bat. They're trying to like not die, right? Like their cellmate's like, I'm gonna kill you. And they have to like just like, or where's your paperwork, right? And then
when you talk about their paperwork, and the paperwork got to match up, and if you want protection, you got to join a gang, you got to be a Muslim, you got to be like a Nazi dude. Like it's just like this whole world where you're coming in and you're like, what do I do? I'm not a gang member. Well, you about to be.
Right.
That's crazy. I see him with the Jelly Roll on here. Was he in the same? That's a country music guy. Were they in the same jail?
I don't know which one.
He was in jail back in the day. Jelly Roll, who's like popping off now.
Yeah.
And that's the first photo I saw. I wonder. I'll look into that. But
you'll find more. You find more of it like on TikTok and YouTube. Okay. IG is more like photos and shit.
What's the podcast called?
Real Stories, Raw Truths, I think is what it's called.
Wait, what's this guy's name?
Ian Bick, Bick. Locked in with Ian Bick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, locked in. All right. You got any others, or should we kick it to Cal?
I mean, I got this crazy weird one, but it's like he's kind of like the other guy I said, Demon Dean. It's this dude. I don't know who it is, but it's called. It's weird. Voidstomper.
What is it?
Voidstomper?
Voidstomper. Just go on it and look. Just do 2 seconds.
On TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram. He's got 1.7 million followers, and it's trippy, yo.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on it.
Look at Cal's face.
What the fuck is this? This is like some horror movie shit.
Right. He takes like his AI generation is wild, but he takes like I guess like anything and turns it into a realistic AI character in real life. So he'll take like a video of somebody like walking down the street and put this like AI goblin that his head splits open, and then there's you saw the one with the baby like DJing inside the guy's head.
Yeah.
Like it's just weird as fuck, but I think that it's super creative. And those are the people that I worry about, because those are motherfuckers that can make shit happen that you think is real, but it really ain't.
It's like nightmare fuel to me. Like, no, thank you.
Look at Cal; he's still in there.
Cal, you look like some of the guys in these videos.
Thank you. I would say you do as well, but you're too old to look like him. So,
bro, there's actually one guy that looks like Mike right here. He was like wearing the same. You see this guy wearing the same chain as him, with the black shirt.
That's crazy. That's a whole woman, by the way. You can tell by her legs.
Cal, what do you got?
So I think this guy, I don't know, we might have talked about him super early days, but I got to give him some love. You guys know Rufus Rice?
No.
His @ is like, if you look him up on IG, it's Rufus Rice. On TikTok, which is like where he posts more often, it's at Rufus Daily, RUFUS. He's probably, in my opinion, one of the funniest guys on the internet. Like, he'll do songs where it'll be like Country Roads but North Korea edition, and he'll sing as if he's like Kim Jong-un, and he'll fucking like, or like, OJ Simpson singing like Hotel California, and And if you see, or he just does the most, he'll be like top 5 pencils, and he'll explain for like 90 seconds why this pencil is better than the other pen. And bro, this guy is fucking hilarious. So yeah, Rufus Rice, like all of the song ones are the best, like where he does the song skits. Um, like yeah, but he does a bunch of different like rankings and stuff. So Rufus Rice is funny as fuck. And then the other guy is Kieran Bierney. And he does like the Zoom office skits, but it's like very realistic, and it'll be like gaslighting my boss, and it'll be a Zoom scenario where the lady is explaining something, and he'll be like, "I can't hear you," and she'll be, "What do you mean you can't?" And then he'll go, and then she'll say something like, "Happy hours at 5 today, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, 5." She's like, "Motherfucker, you could hear me." And they do these skits back and forth as like she's the boss, and those are funny. So yeah, two sort of different guys, but Rufus Rice is number one. I gotta put you onto him.
So Kyle, I got a question for you. You had said before that like the Derek's girl, like the visual is not appealing to you, right?
The whiteboard, yeah.
Right, the whiteboard is not appealing to you. But when you go on like a dude's page like this where just shit is just everywhere, right? How do you, I guess, like when you see that, like what about that kind of like chaos in the grid makes you be like, let me look at this?
But you're
You
not
talk,
going on the grid, are you? You're
no,
discovering
no.
them from like a reel.
Yeah, like I would have
Okay.
seen one of his song videos and then clicked on it and then saw like, okay, this video is a song, the next one's like a comedic skit. And some of them I like more than others, like some of the stuff he
Mhm.
does. I just think his delivery in whether it's a ranking or a song, whatever it is hilarious. So yeah, I'm not basing this guy off his, whereas the educational content that Derek's talking about, if I'm watching like a long YouTube video and someone's explaining something, like that's fine. I'm fine with that. I think my point was around on IG or on TikTok. If I'm just looking at reels, if I saw the whiteboard initially in discovery mode, I would probably keep going through because I don't, I'm just using it for whatever. Like you get what I'm saying? I would flick through versus him in the delivery. I find
I
it
got you.
funny.
Yeah. I just saw his video, the white man's version of my N word by YG. He called it my neighbor.
Yeah, yeah, he does shit like that. Yeah, yeah,
Why is that funny, Cal?
yeah. What is, bro? It's hilarious. No, he doesn't.
But it
I
was
don't,
funny. It was funny because he was just there like this. Huh? He couldn't say nothing.
By
yeah,
the way, that's what the team manager on McNeese State is like. He's very careful in how he raps his lyrics.
oh, really? I haven't noticed. I just watched those videos, and it seems like he's kind of into it. I've never noticed him like not saying anything.
Well, they're obviously he's not dropping the M word all over the place. Like he's got to pause during those moments.
You visibly see him pause.
Yeah, yeah. Watch it back.
I guess I wasn't paying attention to that. I was just spitting the rap as well. I'm just kidding.
um, what
All right,
else?
book. Derek, I think you're the only one who has a book, unless Mike's got three.
No, Derek's the only one that reads.
I'm the only one that reads, but okay. So my book is actually a good book for Mike.
About it.
So yeah.
What
So
is it? The uncoverings of Sean Diddy Combs?
no, so basically I posted about this the other day on my stories, but I was inspired to get this book because our friend Shammy posted on his Instagram a lot, and I wanted to finally, see what it was all about. So it's a book called The Daily Stoic, right? Boom, that's it.
Ooh, stoicism. I dig
Yes,
it.
Stoicism. But I'll tell you why you really dig it, Mike. The Daily Stoic 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Um, and basically, the premise of the book is that it distills the teachings of ancient Stoic philosophers such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. And what I love about it is each page, the first page, right? It's correlated with a date. So the first page is January 1st, right? And then what it has is on the top, it has a quote by one of those philosophers. And then below it, it has a modern interpretation of the quote and some practical application. So basically, the way you're supposed to read it, I just started reading it. I was like 20 pages in before I realized, wait a second, I don't think this is how you're supposed to read it. The way you're supposed to read it, I believe, is whatever the date is, you go to it and you just read one page for that one day, and you noodle on it. You read the quote, you read the interpretation, and that's it. So
That's
for
my
a guy
kind of
like
book, baby.
yeah. So basically, whatever day it is, you just open it up, you read that one page. That's all you need to read for the day. And it's cool because like a lot of times where I'm all flustered or feeling stressed out or whatever, a lot of times it's like a great little, it recalibrates me in a way. I'm just like, all right, I read this thing. Somehow it always kind of ties into what's going on in my life. Like, and it's just like food for thought. And it's I like Stoic philosophy because the whole idea of Stoic philosophy is just like we can control the things that we can, and the things that we can't, like those things you're kind of, you're like, okay, I can't control that thing. So and that's kind of how I live my life recently, is like I'm not going to get all crazy about the things I can't control. That's why I don't get fucking crazy about politics anymore.
But yo, are you, because you don't strike me as one of those guys who is able to just read one page. You just said you read 20 to begin with, but are you staying disciplined like every day,
Yeah.
just that page? You're not peeking to the next page?
Well, the truth is that I read that page, then I put my book down, and then I read the other book where I'm just reading lots of pages, right? So I have another book that I'm reading right now that I'm not finished yet and that I'll talk about some other time in the future. But of this book, yeah, only one page. And
Are
it's
you
cool
reading?
too, because like that's a different type of reading experience. It's like a smart way of kind of putting the book together. What were you gonna say, Cal?
Are you reading more than you're scrolling?
Am I reading more than I'm scrolling? I'm back in reading mode. I'm always scrolling though, but I would say I'm scrolling less because I'm reading more right now.
Mike, you can't do books? You don't do books?
Yeah, no, I can't. The hardest thing for me reading is like I literally just start doing like this. Now that one page a day, that's my lane. Um, just because it takes me a while to like ingest stuff, and then my brain starts like drifting off, and then I'm just reading words, but nothing's like sinking in. Um, but the Stoicism stuff, I've definitely read excerpts of like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca and stuff, and I connect to it. I just would the thing that would mess me up if I read this book is like if I buy it now and everything says January and February. So do you think you start in the month that you get it at and then work your way around?
Yeah, you only like so that's what I ended up doing was I was like, wait a second, like I'm just gonna skip to what the date is, and I'm just
Hmm.
gonna go from there, and then you could just do it year round, just so you
Yeah.
could just start from whatever date it is. Like if it's you get the book tomorrow and it's March 8th, that's where you would start from. What I'd say though, Mike, is for me, I can't read at all hours of the day. Like if I want to read in the afternoon, I can't. It's hard for me to pay attention. If I want to read at night, it just puts me asleep. For me, it's first thing in the morning. So if you, I would encourage you to try, finding a book that is interesting to you and try reading in the morning because that's when you're the most like locked in.
Yeah, that's the only time I can ingest anything. Oh, good, guys. I can get it between 5 and 10 p.m. today for $15.
Do it.
Now,
Do it.
I would like to just pause this podcast right here today and just ask for the donation. If we could donate 13.95 to the Cash App of Venmo of Mike Press 86, it will go to a great cause to help young children in the household of my house.
I was
Back
gonna
on.
say I was gonna say I could lend you the book, but the only thing is, it's like it's not one of those types of books because
Mm-hmm.
you're just supposed to hold on to it and read it every day.
By 6 o'clock, I've had my first page down.
There you go.
So,
So that's the book. Ryan Holiday. I don't know a ton. I've heard his name a million times. I've listened to him on podcasts. He seems like a really interesting dude. But this is the first book that I've read of his, and I've heard that there's another book that's similar. He has like a similar format for another book about. I think it's about like kids or raising kids, something like that. Anyways, let's move on.
we're on to podcasts. Um, Mike, did you have a pod or no?
I don't have a pod. It's just hard for me to find pods right now.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to find. It's hard for me to find something that's like interesting to like watch like multiple episodes of. So I used to find them like it was nothing, but now I'm more informational. Like I want to watch something that's going to give me like an immediate piece of information and then go.
You keep saying watch, but do you ever just listen to a pod? Like you're like driving. Like what are you doing when you're driving? You're listening to music.
Nah, actually, I drive silent just because music is my everyday.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I don't. Or I'll listen to the video that I'm talking, like a video that I'm talking about. I don't know.
You
It's
should,
just
bro. You should start listening to pods when you're driving, or like, because to me, there's nothing better than listening to a pod either when I'm walking outside, like around my neighborhood, driving. Like it has to be something where I'm moving,
mhm.
and all I can do is like hear it in my ears and not have to like pay attention to watching it. You did mention that Ian Bick pod, by the way, so that's your
Yeah,
pod.
watch it.
Yeah, yeah, but you could listen to that too. Cal,
Yeah,
what's
but
yours?
Mine's a,
Yeah,
a Joe Rogan episode. He recently had on. I listened to one way back with this guy, but he recently had on again Magnus Carlsen, who's like the number one chess player in the world. He's
mm-hmm.
like a Danish guy,
mm,
and just like hearing the two of them talk about sort of like he compares chess to life in terms of how it stimulates you mentally, his competitive spirit, and they get into like a bunch of different stuff around again like his early interest but now adapting to the technological advances with AI, and he talks about how that's changing strategy when it comes to chess but as well life in terms of people like needing to adapt to be able to work in the market that we're in, because I feel like that notion of like, it hasn't been said recently, but a couple of years ago when AI kind of burst onto the scene or whatever, a year ago, everyone's like, shit, I'm going to be replaced, no one's going to have jobs, all these things. And so they touch on how obviously that isn't the case, but and then I'm not a massive chess player myself, but I think those guys are so fucking smart, in terms of like, especially if he's the number one guy. So yeah, it was a good, like, easy listen. To your point, driving, walking, like, yeah,
was it under 3 hours?
close to.
I have a problem with Joe Rogan podcasts these days, Cal. I gotta
You
tell
got to
you.
listen to it in like spurts, man. It's like hour
No, it's
here.
not that. It's not the time thing. I listened to it. Okay. I listened to him the other day with Woody Harrelson, right? And my issue with him is it's he makes it too much about him. He's not like like I want to hear from Woody Harrelson and I want to like hear all the interesting stuff, but it sounds like Woody Harrelson is more like along for the ride. And I know that's part of like the charm is like it seems like more of a conversation, but
Mm.
it's more about Joe than it is about the guest. And that's the thing that I don't love about his pod as much anymore.
I think it depends on the episode, though. I'm not gonna act like I'm listening to everyone. Some are more than others. I didn't listen to Woody. Someone. I do think that I don't disagree with you, but what better interviewer is there than Joe Rogan?
He's great, but I'll give you the example. It's like he's talking to Woody Harrelson, and then he's talking about how like he's doing that whole diatribe about the people that like lied about COVID and like like he's been on this tangent now for since 2020. It's 5 years, and he's still repeating the same thing. And it's like, I want to fucking hear about, white men can't jump. I don't want to, I don't want to hear about your vendetta against the pharmaceutical companies for the 100th time. It's just, so to me, it's like, I don't know. He makes himself the star of the show. And he had Portnoy on one time, and it was like, I was so excited for it. And it was like the most disappointing thing because he just talked about, it was just Joe talking about UFC and like, things that he was interested in. And it's like, dude, you have this guest on who's like, so polarizing and so provocative. And like, you've never seen this guy in such a long form thing. And I just felt like it was a wasted opportunity. Real quick, I'll tell you, my pod is Bill Simmons. What?
I thought you were going to hit us with Diary of a CEO for the third week.
No, I wasn't. No. Bill Simmons. Funny that you say that, considering you talk about Joe Rogan podcast literally all the time. But Bill Simmons had the executive producer from White Lotus, Dave Bernard, on the other day. Did you listen to it or no, Kyle?
You sent it to me, right? And you said you got to listen to this part, and I started it, but I didn't get through it. No.
Okay. And I know Mike doesn't even watch White Lotus, so like,
I'm probably gonna have to because it keeps popping up.
Yeah.
Yo, and basically, would you say just quick on White Lotus? In terms of season 1, season 2, I haven't started season 3. I thought season 2 was way better than season 1. I actually didn't like season 1 that much. Does it keep progressing in a positive direction? Like,
well, okay. I'm 1 episode behind, 2 episodes in. I'll just say this. There's 2 interesting parts of this interview. One is I had no idea what it took to get this show made. So the guy who came up with, who's the like creator of the show, is a guy named Mike White. He's one of the most talented like writers, minds in Hollywood right now. He was Mr. Schneebly from School of Rock, if you ever saw that movie.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. It's all time, man.
Mr. Schneebly. Yeah, and it turns out he's one of the great like writers and creative minds that there is.
You're saying Mr. Schneebly produced White Lotus?
He is the creator of the show. He wrote the entire show.
White Lotus.
Yeah,
Mr. Schneebly.
Mr. Schneebly. And not only that,
no fucking way.
It's so unique because all these HBO shows have big writers' rooms. There's no writer's room. It's just him, okay? And he came up with the idea apparently in 2008, and then they never signed off on it. Then he brought it to Amazon. They picked it up. Then a new person came in. They scrapped it. All this stuff happened. And then in 2020, HBO basically came to him and they're like, everything is shut down. We need to shoot a show in 30 days. Do you have anything? And he's like, yeah, I do actually. And it was White Lotus. And the craziest part of this interview, like this, I guess this is just one spoiler, but so it turns out like a lot of times when they go scout the locations, they don't know what the show is going to be. Even, so they're finding the location first. So the crazy story that he told is that the guy, Mike White, they went to Thailand for season 3. Mike White goes there, gets really sick. He has bronchitis, right? Goes to a hospital. They treat him. They take care of him like really well. They put him on a nebulizer. He stays up for 2 days straight, starts having crazy hallucinations. And season 3 is all the hallucinations that he is the story of what his hallucinations were. That's what season 3 is. It all stems from the hallucinations he had when he was sick. So if you watch it and you're watching the first 2 episodes like I was and thinking, this is fucking weird. Like this is like a weird season so far. It makes sense once you know that it's all from his hallucination.
What's the premise of White Lotus? If you were to say to someone like in the interview, what does he say about what White Lotus is meant to be? Obviously, like everyone's at a hotel, some sort of mystery. Like, but what is White Lotus?
It's one of those shows, I forget what the description is. It's one of those shows that starts over, basically. Like some characters
Yeah,
carry
yeah.
over to the new season, but the entire cast, for the most part, is like turned over for each episode, for each new season. So it's almost like an entirely new season, but it has some, plot lines that carry over and some characters that carry over.
I swear there's just one or two characters that have been from 1 to 3.
Yeah. Well, so what part of the reason why the show wasn't picked up originally was because HBO was like, those types of shows don't work. And there was no example of a show like that working. And then they did True Detective and it was a hit. And so similar to True Detective, like it's one of the, I'm blanking on it. It's like a serialized, but where it doesn't carry over from season to season exactly. It's like a whole new season. And so, yeah, Mike, you would like it. I mean, every season it's at a new hotel. It's a new location. The location is a big like star of the show because it's like it's in Italy one season or it's in Hawaii and this one's in Thailand. And it's just great. And it's never like A-list actors. It's all these actors and actresses.
What do you
Where you're
mean
like,
not A-list actors and
well,
actresses?
Some of them are. Some of them are.
Yeah, bro.
most of them are like supporting types of like, oh, I know that guy, but what do I know them from?
Mhm.
Who's like a star of the show?
I mean, I don't want to spoil it. You're saying from any season? I mean,
Who's an A-list? Who?
the one I don't know is the guy who played bro, the guy who played his wife was like cheating on him with I don't want to spoil it, but
What?
that guy's in a bunch of shit. The British guy in the season 2, the guy who cheated on his wife.
Oh,
It's
from
like Falcon.
Sopranos, that guy?
Yeah, I'm not even talking about that guy. Yes, that guy is big. Well, Case, I mean, depends what you consider an A-list actor or celebrity. Sydney Sweeney, Daddario in the first
Sydney
one.
Sweeney, dude, blew up like
Post.
as that first season was happening, like Jennifer Coolidge was like kind of known, but not like an A-list actress at all. And anyways, the point is it's a lot of like, it's like an ensemble cast and they do a great job of kind of interweaving all the stories together. Mike,
Yeah, question. So, what was your podcast about?
my podcast, it's Bill Simmons talking to the executive producer of the show, and it's just really interesting to hear the backstory of how like a breakout show, like one of the biggest shows right now, how tough it was to even just get it made and everything that kind of like all the lucky things that had to happen. And it just seems like Hollywood's an impossible place to kind of like if you want to break in, if you're a screenwriter, you want to get a show made, man, the like things that need to line up in order to do that, it's really, really tough.
Yeah.
I
2008, by the way, is when this guy created it, and it didn't get made till 12 years later.
The craziest thing from all that to me is that Ned Schneebly is the fucking writer of White Lotus. That's
Yep.
what I took away from that.
By the way, if you go and do a deep dive on Mike White, Mr. Schneebly, turns out, man, he's got the craziest, like most fascinating backstory. And he's been on all these reality television shows too, strangely enough. Like he was on like Amazing Race and Survivor and like a lot. I think a lot of it, the themes are tied into like White Lotus. So anyways, that's my pod.
Let's move on to music. Mike, you got some music?
Yeah. So in the dispensary that I work for, they always playing Japanese jazz. Have y'all ever listened to this before?
No.
It's the weirdest title, but the music is jazz, but it's called Japanese jazz. It's the smoothest shit to listen to. It ain't like 80 turn up. Yo, I've been on that for like a week and a half.
Yeah, good. I love it.
I've been on that for like a week now.
There you go.
But it's very like jazzy, like pop jazzy, and I'm just like, why is it called Japanese jazz? Like I don't
Put us onto a song that we could listen to real quick right now.
Japanese jazz.
That's what it's called.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
that
like
was like the genre. I thought that was the
Yeah,
genre.
that was the genre too.
yeah, it's like there's not like a song that like signifies what it is, but I'm just like I'm more fascinated as to why it's called that.
Japanese jazz mix.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and you'll
Like,
hear it, and you're like, yeah,
yeah, I would hear this a lot when I was in Japan. Like any of the stores you walk into, it's kind of like vibey, popping. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm just like, what is that?
I get behind Japanese jazz. I fuck with it.
I like. I mean, obviously, I haven't listened to it for any amount of time, but I like the idea of Japanese jazz as well. Sounds good.
Yeah, really ain't no words. It's just like that ambiance music. I've been looking for that more ambiance music. I can't do words anymore.
By the way, that's an underrated thing, right? Music without words. Like
Huh?
you don't need words all the time. And I'm more
We
and
don't need
more
words all the time.
in music. I'm just saying
Oh,
more and more like the music that I listen to. I mean, Krungbin, no, it's like barely any words, like just vibes. So good. So
I
I'm gonna check out Japanese jazz.
I would definitely say it with my generation though. Not many people are fucking with like just music, no lyrics. From what I get, like I don't know. We'll have to do a little bit of research on that because I'd be vibing with AD Turnip and shit too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
like I was playing it the other day, and somebody was like, "Mike, is this yours?" I was like, "Yeah, it's on my phone." They're like, "No, your music." I was like, "Huh? Oh no, no."
You should have just taken credit for it, Mike. Who cares? By the way, AD Turnip's like 20 years old, Cal.
he's young.
So
He's young
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. All right. Japanese jazz. Anything else, Mike, or no?
Nah, I couldn't. I had a guy, but I can't find him right now.
Mike is always so funny because he's like, I'm anything else, and he's like, there is that one random. Like, he's gonna figure it out like on the fly.
One guy I listened to 7 years ago. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know his name. Yeah. You want me to go, Cal, or you?
You go.
I gotta. As it starts to get like a little bit warmer outside, I get in this mode of okay, now it's time to start creating like my summertime playlist because like I always have a big like 75 song playlist of music. And as I started doing that, there were a couple songs that I added to it. And I'm just like, I gotta just shout out these songs that I know Mike knows, but I don't know if Cal knows. Okay, so they're all on the summertime vibe. Uh, Set Adrift on Memory Bliss by PM Dawn. Cal, yeah, do it, Mike. That song is so ahead of its time. Listen,
Settles was crazy.
yeah, listen to that song, Cal. It's like this dude's like a real one hit wonder. But man, this song is like straight summertime vibes.
This is the bar closeout song.
Yeah, who does he sample on this song, Mike? Do you know?
I don't know.
You know what? I think I might have asked ChatGPT that question and I forgot to even look at the answer.
Of course, I know
Oh,
this.
yeah, samples the song True by Spandau Ballet. Never even heard of that. Great vibe. Set adrift on memory bliss.
Yeah.
So that's one. Two, Breakadawn by De La Soul. Every time that song comes on, Breakadawn, spelled one word, break a dawn, Cal.
Why you say it to him like that?
Because I just want him to go listen to it real quick. It's fucking one of my favorites. It's like every time I hear it, makes me happy. Pure summertime vibes. De La Soul is one of like the most underrated rap groups from Long Island, by the way. So shout out to them. Great song. You listening to it, Cal?
Yeah.
All right, so here's a good question for you, Derek.
Sure.
Where did they sample that from?
Boom, boom, boom. A 1-2, a 1-2. Breakadawn. I have no idea.
Michael Jackson. I can't help it.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorites. And then the last one I was gonna say is just because he passed away the other day.
Roy Ayers.
Yeah. My life in the sunshine. Boop, 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 boop.
Everybody loves the sunshine.
So I'm on a summertime sunshine kick right now, and
you gotta send through that summer playlist.
Oh yeah, I will. It's a banger. So good. I put a lot of the AD turn up songs on. I put what was that other group that I got really into? I forget that I meant. Oh, Glass Beams. I threw some Glass Beams on it.
Glass Beams, yeah.
Threw some Krungbin on it, and yeah, Roy. How do you pronounce the last name? I always say Ayers. Tribe Called Quest used to sample a lot of his shit, and Tribe Called Quest is probably my favorite rap group of all time. And so, yeah, rest in peace to that guy. That guy is sometimes, I don't know if you guys ever do this, but like there was a point in time where I went down like a rabbit hole on just all of like the 70s funk, like Isaac Hayes, Al Green, like all that shit. And sometimes that's the best music to listen to in the summertime for me, like going to the beach, being outside, barbecue, like no better music to listen to.
I'm with you on that.
Okay. Cal, you got music?
Yeah, I got this one guy. He just dropped a new album. I think I've talked about you before. Morray is a rapper out of North Carolina, and he's kind of like, I would say, soul rap. He had his like OG song that I was fucking with was Quicksand in like 2020, and then he was on a track with J. Cole in 21 that was hot. I think it was My Life. And then, yeah, his new album is Long Story Short. And I haven't I listened to maybe the first 10 songs. And yeah, it's reminded me like why I used to fuck with him. So I'm getting back into Morray. But
I remember the Quicksand song.
Yeah, you got Quicksand?
I remember the Quicksand song because it reminded me of like Young Thug.
Yeah. A little bit of vibes for sure. So yeah, Morray is my put on.
Never heard of him. I'm trying to listen real quick. Kind of interesting that the first song is My Life after we were just talking about my life.
Yeah.
Listen, who would you compare him to?
I mean, Mike just said Thug, but
is he like Thug?
Flow is.
What you were about to say? Listen to what? No, what were you going to say though? Listen to what?
Well, did you just listen to My Life?
5 seconds of it.
Switched up. Listen to Switched Up. Listen to Quicksand. Breathe Underwater is on his new album, and Mud Baby. Listen to like those two on his new album, and you'll see like how his flow switches up a little bit from the older. Like Quicksand is older, and like Mud Baby is newer. Breathe Underwater is recent, like within the last month. But yeah.
Just a random question for you guys, but did we talk Grammys at all from like the other week? Are there any artists that are like on the Grammys that you fuck with, or is it because to me it's like I don't really listen to any of those types of artists.
It's too commercial. It's way too commercial. Like everything is just very. I call it everything is very Z100.
True.
So, like, I can appreciate like the Sabrina Caballo and the Sabrina Carpenter and like all these chicks because they followed like the same. They follow the same. We call it like not diagram.
Archetype. By the way, that's
Yeah,
Sabrina Caballo is not a person.
whoever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they all follow the same archetype. And what I found out was like a lot of them record in like Tennessee.
Is that right? Why?
Is that right?
It's random as fuck. They say a lot of pop producers are in Tennessee. I don't know why.
The only Grammys.
Oh, because in Nashville is
Yeah,
like a big, music hub.
Mm-hmm.
Tate McRae's
Yeah,
the only one that I would listen to.
That you would listen to. Oh, I didn't think that's the direction you were going to take that.
It's where I took it. Mike, I think you're the only one with TV shows.
Yeah, tell
y'all gotta get man. Y'all gotta get into
90 Day Fiance. Oh, sorry.
No.
You watched the Spanish one, Montoya.
180 Day Fiance. 30 Day Fiance.
Y'all gotta get into Paradise on Hulu.
Paradise.
Is Paradise?
What's it about?
So basically, they're taking. Something comes to Earth and obliterates every person in the world. This billionaire lady comes in and creates a city of 25,000 people. They handpicked every single person of the 25,000 people. The whole premise of it is a pandemic comes through, wipes everybody out, but they're living in a hub like this. So let's just look at it like this. Like they live everywhere underneath, and everything above is actual like America. So they're like basically living inside of a cave. But the cave has been produced to be like a real city. And the twists and turns in it, like that's the premise I'm gonna give you. That's the one show I binge watched in 2 days.
Shit.
It was that good.
What's the genre? Is it like action? Is it
it's action drama.
Drama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Top 10. That one and On Call. I think On Call is on Amazon Prime. It's about these Long Beach police cops. And it's almost like but the way that they film this is through the body cams.
Wait, it's a reality show?
No, it's a sitcom. But it's a serious one. So you're like watching people, they're like shooting people off with like sawed-off shotguns, all this kind of shit. And a lot of the angles are coming from the body cams.
It's a serious sitcom? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Well, series, not a sitcom.
Oh, it's a series. Okay.
Yeah. Those are my two that I've been on, like, okay, this is it. And I think Paradise is 8 episodes. On Call is on its 2nd season.
Got it. I thought you had 3.
I have 3. Oh, and the Andrew Schultz special, Life.
Oh, you watch that? The stand up?
Yeah. I give stand up specials like 10 minutes. If I don't laugh in the first 10 minutes, I'm out of there.
You watch the whole thing?
I'm at like 45 minutes right now. So like the first 30, I was actually laughing hard. So.
Like Derek's buddy is Schultz.
I used to hang with him a little bit.
Well, you used to.
Used to. Then he went on Joe Rogan, and that was it. Superstar. Too famous.
We were talking about having him on.
Yeah, I mean, I have his number in my phone. It's just he wouldn't pick up that call or respond to a text at this point, right?
That's something you should have just kept to yourself.
He's a funny dude, though. He's a very, very funny dude.
Voice that in there.
Yeah, you should have just kept that one to yourself. I have his number, but he doesn't answer. Keep that one in.
Well, I've seen some of the clips of that stand up. It's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good because I feel like a lot of stand up right now is just blah.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you guys. Like, give me your who you think are the top 3 stand ups right now?
I think a lot of people don't give Dion Cole enough credit. Y'all might not know who he is.
Don't know who that is.
He does dry comedy, but he does dry comedy in a flavorful way. A lot of times people just do dry comedy and just wait for the punchline to come.
Oh, I've seen this guy.
Yeah, I would say him. Um, oh, he had a TV show on Hulu. I can't remember his name. He just did SNL.
Shane Gillis.
Yeah,
Shane Gillis.
he's hilarious. He'd be in my.
He's in my top 3 too. I go him, Nate Bargatzi. I don't know if you guys mess with Nate Bargatzi. Hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him actually at UBS, and I actually think that the stand up game is it's fallen off like
Mm-hmm.
in the last couple of years. I used to love Louis CK before he got canceled. Still love him
Mm-hmm.
actually, but just a little bit different now.
Yeah.
Shane Gillis
Like,
is that was one of my favorite SNL skits, that couple of beers. You guys saw that?
I knew you would love that. I knew you would love that.
That
Yeah.
was amazing. That was
A little bit
hilarious.
of Coke.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like Bill Burr.
Yeah, I was about to say Bill Burr. I like Bill Burr too.
He's funny. Somebody was saying the other day that like one of the biggest like what ifs is if Shane Gillis had not been canceled and had been on Saturday Night Live for all those years. So Mike, did you not know that basically he was a cast member, and so they announced it, and then this was like right during like the most, like the height of like woke, Me Too, everything. And they went back and they found something that he had said that was like, I don't remember if it was like kind of racist or like kind of sexist, something that was like a little bit, not politically correct. And they took him off the show. And so then he had a couple of years where it was just like maybe his career was over. And then, credit to him, he kind of reinvented himself, or he just kept on going. And so, yeah, he could have been like a cast member for like 5 or 6 years, and it would have changed the show in a lot of ways, because he's very different than most of the cast members on Saturday Night Live. Like they never really had what?
He's not a character.
He's not, and he's coming from like the what would you say perspective? It's almost like a pro-Trump type of like, demographic type of thing, right? Like
For sure.
Just like the everyday white guy, middle America white guy.
Wait, let me tell you this funny story real quick. Happened yesterday.
Do it.
So yesterday, I'm like I said, I've been doing this this mini documentary on this cheerleading team out here. And last night they're going to the state championships tomorrow. So I'm interviewing some of the parents, and one of the dads goes, "You from Fox News?" I was like, I don't think so. And then he goes, "Because if you're from CNN, I don't know if I could talk to you." I was like, "No, I don't. I'm not sure how that even pertains to what we're talking about right now." But I was like, "You just told me everything."
Right? Exactly. Right.
You just told me everything. I was like, "No, I'm from local Channel 12 News. That's where it'll be on." He's like, "All right, I could do it then." I was like, "So."
Isn't that crazy though, that like at this point, if you are watching Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or Newsmax, it's like
It dictates who your side.
you're just getting fucking brainwashed by, on one side or the other. And it's like you have no intelligence to know that that's like what you're.
If you're consistently still watching a traditional news network, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, what the fuck you're doing?
He's older.
You're
older.
a boomer.
So
that's what you're doing. Yeah. Right?
What? Okay, let me ask you guys this question. In 20, 30 years from now, are all traditional news outlets dead? Are they like, because look, so okay, they are, so that's your answer. They're dead.
Yeah. Because that generation is not going to be here.
That was my point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like me and Derek.
Yeah, I don't think the legacy media. I kind of agree. I think it's going to be gone. at that
So
point, right?
are they just trying to milk the cow as much as they can over the next 20 years, make as much
Mhm.
money as possible, and then dip?
I think a bigger entity is going to come in where, you know, your Google or Amazon is just going to have one main place for you to go for all your news. I mean, Google already has that, but I just think there's going to be one main outlet. That's where you go for all your news, and it's not subjective to one thing. It's everything.
I don't think
Kind of
that's
like
what it's going to be.
I think it's kind of like a blockchain.
I don't think it's going to be that a one central thing. I think it's going to be it's all going to be individual news people, and it's not going to be tied to one overarching like large corporate. I think that's what it's going away from. Nobody wants, because there's no way to get an unbiased like agenda free, one size fits all thing. It's not. There's no
Well,
way.
look, I don't mean it's going to be a show. I don't mean it's going to be a show. I'm just saying it's going to be an outlet. Like you go to this one site and it's everything.
Well, maybe so you're saying let's just, for argument's sake, say it's like Google. It's like that's the platform, and then you go on, and if you want to hear from the right wing, or if you want to hear from the left, or you want to hear a moderate opinion, it's all in one place.
Yeah, and you find the things that you want to find within that. It's not like you're going to the news channel. It's not like that.
It's just so dumb because it's all about confirmation bias. It's like, I believe in this thing, and now I want to hear somebody else just like say similar things to what I believe in, and then anything that goes against it, like that's, I'm not going to pay attention to that. So it's an echo chamber. All these stations are just like echo chambers to people who believe, just this one way or just this other way. I don't know. It's a sad state of affairs, in my opinion. And that's, again, why I want no part of it. Cal. Yeah, what?
No, you go.
I was just going to say, but like Cal is like the biggest like Trudeau guy, right? So it's like whatever he says, it's just like his word,
Yo, Mike, we had one pod that I was talking about like Canada and Trudeau and shit, and I was like, this got to be cut or I'm out of the country. Like we can't be putting this out. And I think we still did, but yeah.
There was a time where it was getting very. Is it better, or is it kind of still the same in terms of the censorship?
He stepped down. He stepped down. The censorship shit is still the same. He stepped down. Nothing is happening even though he's still making policies and decisions, and he's talking to the media about Trump in the U.S. But yeah, we'll have an election in October, and we'll see what happens. There is some concern that this guy, Mark Carney, who is going to come in as the Liberal leader, is worse than Trudeau, and he's gaining popular vote. And the issue in Canada is that majority of the vote comes from Ontario and Quebec, which is very liberal traditionally. So like most of Canada actually doesn't really have a say in any of the votes in terms of like how it ends up working out. So like Alberta, where I'm at, would feel very different than Ontario and Quebec, like different. Yeah, very different. So see what happens. But
interesting. Mike, do you have any geopolitical thoughts before we end this pod? No.
Should we wrap? We said we'd keep it short. We're at an hour 12.
Yeah.
Well, two people went on a fucking rant.
Who, you and Cal?
No, you two.
Rant on what? What was I ranting on?
White Lotus.
That was. There's no way White Lotus was the longest part of the shit. There's no way.
Watch.
This is long form, guys. Like this is how it goes. It's a nice little conversation. By the way, before we wrap, we should experiment with some like short pods, like real short pods. Like that's something that I want to test out. Is like maybe in like 2 or 3 weeks, we try and do 3 episodes, each one 10 minutes, and see how that goes for us.
Sure.
I would push it to 20.
20?
Okay. 10.
Yeah, there's no way we're going to be able to keep it to 10 minutes.
No way.
Never mind. I take it back.
Episode 39 in the books. Closing in on 50. See you, gents. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to the Put On Podcast. Make sure to follow us wherever you listen and across socials at The Put On Pod, and let us know who or what we should be putting you onto next.